A judge allegedly called them cockroaches. The internet turned it into a movement. Then the government treated the movement as a national security threat. And that's when the story stopped being a meme. Because when you ban a cockroach party, you don't kill it, you make it famous. A few weeks ago, a satirical movement called the Cockroach Janta Party exploded across Indian social media. It began after controversial remarks that many young Indians interpreted as insulting activists, social media critics, and unemployed youth. The response was unexpected. Instead of protesting conventionally, thousands embraced the label, "I am a cockroach." The slogan went viral. The movement gained millions of followers online, and then the government reacted. The first major blow came when the movement's X account was blocked inside India under Section 69A of the Information Technology Act. Reports suggested the decision was linked to concerns raised by security agencies. Think about that for a moment. A satirical movement built around a cockroach mascot was suddenly being discussed in the same language normally reserved for national security issues. Then came more problems. The movement's website went down. Its social media accounts faced disruptions. Its founder, Abhijeet Dipke, publicly shared screenshots of threats he claimed to have received. For many observers, this looked like the point where the movement would collapse. Instead, the opposite happened. The blocked account returned through backups. Mirror websites appeared. Supporters became even more active, and a phrase began spreading across social media: "You cannot squash a movement." Then the Delhi High Court entered the story. On May 29th, the court agreed to examine a challenge against the government's decision to block the movement's X account. Dipke argued that the account was a satire and therefore protected under freedom of expression. The government maintained its position. The court did not immediately restore the account, but it did something important. It opened the door for judicial review. That means the issue is no longer just about memes. It is now about the limits of free expression in the world's largest democracy. The next major hearing is scheduled for July, and many people will be watching closely. But here is what I think is the most important development. The movement has already moved beyond its original controversy. It is no longer only about one judge's remarks. It has started focusing on issues that directly affect young Indians: unemployment, exam scandals, paper leaks, and institutional accountability. In other words, the cockroach became a symbol, and symbols are powerful because they allow millions of frustrated people to rally around a single idea. Now let us be honest, this movement may fade. Most internet movements eventually do. A viral hashtag is not a political party. Millions of followers are not millions of votes, and social media fame does not automatically translate into real world influence. But that doesn't mean the movement is irrelevant. Quite the opposite. Because whether the Cockroach Janata Party survives or disappears, it has already exposed something important. A growing number of young Indians feel unheard. And when people stop trusting institutions, they start creating symbols of their own. That is why international media has paid attention. Not because a cockroach mascot is funny, but because the story raises a larger question. What happens when governments respond to satire with censorship? History suggests the answer is simple. Suppression often makes movements stronger. The more you try to hide them, the more people want to see them. So, where does the story stand today? The movement is still online, its legal battle is still alive, the High Court case is still pending, and the question that started all of this remains unanswered. Why was a cockroach party considered dangerous in the first place? Because sometimes the biggest threat to institutions is not satire, it is the frustration that satire represents. Please subscribe. We will be following the July hearing closely.